yo soy Dana y bienvenidos a nuestro español. Hello everyone, this is Dana and welcome to our Spanish. In this video, I'm going to talk about the reflexive verbs, los verbos reflexivos. So I know these verbs might be a little confusing for some of you, but don't worry because I'm going to explain all about them in this video. Okay, let's begin. First, we're going to talk about the non-reflexive verbs. These are the verbs that you might already know, like correr, comer, escribir, estudiar, and these are verbs that we do on something. So the non-reflexive verbs are the ones that have a subject, a verb, and an object. We're not going to get really deep into grammar, but what I want to say is that the non-reflexive verbs, we need someone that does the action and then the action goes to something. So for example, yo bebo té, I drink tea. So it's me who's doing the action. Beber, to drink, that's the verb, and the object is the tea. So I'm doing the action on the tea. Yo bebo té. When we are reading a book, yo leo un libro, so it's me who's doing the action. Leer, to read, that's the action, and libro, book, that's the object. So I'm doing the action on the object. Okay, so the reflexive verbs are the verbs that return to the one who's doing the action. Like, I wake up, I get up, I take a shower, I brush my teeth, I dress up, and all those. Those verbs are the ones that we do on ourselves. For example, I get up, yo me levanto. That's an action that I'm doing, and then the verb is levantar, and then the verb is returning to me because I'm the one who's standing up. So the reflexive verbs are the verbs that return to the person or object that is doing the action. Okay, so I showed you some examples in a bit, but before I want to make a review on the pronombres reflexivos. To make a verb a reflexive verb, we need the reflexive pronouns, the pronombres reflexivos. So for yo, we have me, for tú, we have te, for él, ella, and usted, we have se. For nosotros or nosotras, we have nos. For ustedes, we have se. For vosotros, we have os. And for ellos and ellas, we use se. Notice here that ustedes is the you plural that we use in Latin America, and vosotros is the you plural that they use in Spain. Also notice that se can refer to él, ella, usted, ustedes, ellos, and ellas. So only the context will tell us about who we're talking about. So the verb has to be conjugated as normal. For example, yo me levanto, tú te levantas, él, ella or usted se levanta, nosotros nos levantamos, ustedes se levantan, vosotros os levantáis, and ellos and ellas se levantan. You can also use these reflexive verbs with any verb tense. For example, yo me levanto, that's present. Yo me levanté, that's past. Yo me levantaba, that's the imperfect. Yo me levantaré, that's the future. Yo me voy a levantar, I'm going to get up. Yo me estoy levantando, I'm getting up. Yo me levantaría, I would get up. Yo me he levantado, I had gotten up, and so on. Now, probably you think that the only reflexive pronouns are the ones about the daily routine. I take a shower, I brush my teeth, I get up, and so on. But actually, any verb can have its own reflexive version. Any verb can be non-reflexive and reflexive. For example, cerrar. Cerrar is the non-reflexive. So for example, if I say, yo cierro la puerta, it's me who is doing the action. Yo, cerrar, and then the door. So I'm doing the action on the door. Yo cierro la puerta. And the reflexive version of this verb is cerrarse. So you can say, la puerta se cierra. In this case, the door is doing the action, cerrar, and it's coming back to the door. The door is closing itself. No one is closing it. It closed. Okay? So, la puerta se cierra. So here, if you know the infinitive form of any verb, that is the verb that is not conjugated, like leer, escribir, estudiar, those are the non-conjugated form, which is the infinitive. If you want to search for a reflexive verb in infinitive form, that is the verb plus se. For example, abrir, abrirse, levantar, levantarse, and so on. Now, as a promise, let's see some examples. Yo levanto la caja. Yo me levanto. Tú lavas los platos. Tú te lavas las manos. Ella corta el tomate. Ella se cortó el dedo. Yo visto el osito. Yo me visto. Ella pone la taza en la mesa. Ella se pone una bufanda. Tú rompiste tu celular. Tú te rompiste el brazo. Yo escribo tu número en esta libreta. Yo me escribo tu número en la mano. El cojín se cayó. La computadora se descompuso. Los papeles se mojaron. El arroz se quemó. Las fotos se borraron. Mi perrito se perdió. Another thing that is very confusing too is where to put me, te, se, nos, os, se. So I'm going to give you 2 tips to know where to place me, te, se, and so on. The first one is, if the verb is conjugated, the pronoun goes before it. The second tip is, if the verb is in infinitive or imperative form, the pronoun goes attached to it, after the verb. Okay, let's see some examples. The first rule, before the conjugated verb. So we have, yo me despierto a las 7. So the verb despertar is conjugated here. So that's why we put me before it. Now, for example, yo me tengo que despertar a las 7. Tengo is conjugated, so that's why we put me before. Now the second rule, it's attached to the infinitive or imperative verb. For example, yo tengo que despertarme a las 7. So this sentence have exactly the same meaning as the previous one. I have to wake up at 7. But here we are putting me after the infinitive verb. Remember that when we say I have to, we say, for example, yo tengo que, and then the infinitive verb. For example, yo tengo que comer. So comer is infinitive. And this is exactly the same thing. Yo tengo que despertar. But despertar, it's a reflexive verb, so we put me after. And we have, yo tengo que despertarme a las 7. So these 2 sentences mean exactly the same thing, but you have the option to put me before the conjugated verb tengo or attached to the infinitive verb despertar. Now we have despiértate, which despierta is the imperative verb, so that's why we put te attached to it. I hope this wasn't confusing for you. Just remember, if the verb is conjugated, the pronoun goes before. If the verb is infinitive or imperative, the pronoun goes attached to it. So that was it for today. I hope this was useful for you. Don't forget to like and share and make sure to subscribe. I will post a video every week, I think every Saturday. So that's it. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and see you next time. Bye bye. Adiós. Hasta luego.